Welcome to the Filmmakers 412 podcast. I'm your host, Michael Ray. Today we have with us local actor and filmmaker John Iwanonkiw. John has been in a gazillion movies, including Silence of the Lambs and Night of the Living Dead. He has some great stories and some great information for our viewers, so please stick around. Here's our interview with John Iwanonkiw. Hi, John. Thanks for coming today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me.
So, give me a little bit of background on yourself. You're an actor, I know. I've run into you on 100 sets. Well, not 100, but a lot.
Yeah.
And I always enjoyed working with you, and I think you would have a lot to contribute. So please tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in film.
You have to keep us PG?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
No, you can't.
I guess I started when I was probably 4 or 5 years old. My parents would walk us to the movie theater on the south side, give us $2. I think it was 35 or 75 cents to get into the theater, and the rest was for eat. And
How deep was the snow?
I don't know.
Did you have to walk uphill both ways?
It was only 6 blocks, so it didn't matter. Back then, it didn't matter. We were poor. We didn't have a car. So we would go to the theater, which started maybe right after church, 1 o'clock.
You're a native South Sider,
Yes,
right?
I am. 12th Street, 15th Street, yes. And walk to the arcade theater. My brothers are 2 years and 4 years older than me. Walk us off, I should say, at 1 p.m., come get us at 9. So we stay for the double feature twice. And eventually, I know I was 4 or 5 years old because I moved to 12th Street when I was 6 years old. So watching these movies, I always liked the guy that got captured. I always wanted to be a prisoner. So the next day when we get home, we would practice or play the parts of the movie that we just watched, mostly Westerns. But for some reason, I wanted to always get captured. I figured I would escape, and that's pretty neat.
Did that manifest itself into your love life later on in life? Forget it. That's a different show. That's it. So one of the things that really drew me to asking you here was all these pictures you've been posting on Facebook. Like you have your arm around famous actors, and that's a thing that's just amazing. You've been doing this for a long time, and you've been in a million. How many films have you been in?
I honestly don't know. Over 300.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. With student films and commercials, and I started when I was probably 17. The Fish is Safe Pittsburgh. I think it was 1977 or 78, and a friend of mine was a basketball player, Walt Skurbiak from Southside Ukrainian, and his son Wally played for Minnesota. But he said, "Hey, these guys want to go be in the movie." I said, "Sure." So I was an extra, and actually got featured a few times with my afro here. And
when you say featured, what do you mean?
I'm seen on camera like a 2-shot, single shot.
Oh, okay.
So they cut the camera away to Flip Wilson, and I'm standing right behind Flip Wilson. So that's pretty good. So I don't want to be a movie star. That's not my thing. Is to have fun. Being somebody I'm not. That's the easiest thing to play somebody you're not.
You would take the stardom though if it came.
Maybe. Money's nice, but I would probably give it away. That's how I am. So that was like the first thing I ever did was the Fish that Saved Pittsburgh. And then they did a movie called Flashdance, and I played a steel mill worker. And then Gung Ho was one of the better ones because I got to hang out with Michael Keaton for 12 weeks, and Ron Howard and George Wendt and Doc Ellis, Mimi Rogers.
So when you say hang out, like I was an extra for one movie. It was like on my bucket list to be an extra in one movie, and I got to be in one with Seth Rogen.
Right.
And he was 10 feet from me, and I was told, well, me and 50 other people were told, don't talk to the main actors. But it sounds like, I see you with your arm around, big stars.
Well, it depends on the situation. Everyone's different. Now it's a lot tougher. Back in the day, I had Ron Howard take a picture with me and Michael Keaton. I'd be Michael Keaton. I say, I'm from so-and-so. I work with your basketball coach, Jack Bjork. Oh, yeah, how's he doing? And then we hung out. Hey, good morning, John. How you doing? So we do lunch together once in a while, not often. And just hang out. That's hanging out, talking to somebody. Even 5 minutes, give you a high five, go on the set. That's pretty cool, you know.
Holy crap.
Out of 300 or 400 people, the guy comes up to you and gives you a high five, you know.
Yeah, makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Okay, do some more name dropping and do some more movie mentioning.
So that another one was a good one was Night of the Living Dead, the 1990 remake where I played a zombie, which a friend of mine, it was before Nancy started. It was, I can't remember her name right now. It's, hey, John, you want to be in this movie? It's a cemetery scene. I said, oh, Night of the Living Dead. Yes, I'll do it.
Like, well, wait. Let me ask you a question, because this is one of the things that I always wonder. It's like, you were in like Silence of the Lamb, right?
Yes.
When you're making Silence of the Lamb, do you know at that time it's going to be an icon?
No.
No, it's just like
I can tell you a funny story about Silence of the Lambs once you want to get to that, or I can get to it right now. It's kind of embarrassing, and that's where I learned I had high blood pressure.
No, just go on naturally and get there, because you got history to go.
Yeah. So where were we with? Were we at Gun Ho, or were we at Night of the Living Dead? So she calls and says, "Hey, we're doing a movie," but I knew they were shooting Night of the Living Dead here. I said, I always wanted to be in a zombie movie. The original scared the hell out of me. I didn't watch it till I was a senior in high school. And years later, I became friends with the main zombie, and he actually was in the movies of mine, Bill Heinzman. And so on Night of the Living Dead, so she said, wear khakis, a rain jacket, and here's where you're going to go. I'm like, what the heck? So we go to this cemetery. I'm like, where's the wardrobe? Where's the makeup? I want to be a zombie. Well, the movie actually was a movie called Iron Maze with Jeff Fahey, Bridget Fonda. And there's a scene where Jeff, what's his name? My mind's shot right now. Bridget Fonda and Jeff Fahey are walking, and Jeff says something to Bridget like, I don't think it was an accident. Don't believe what they tell you. So there's a steel worker and another worker behind those walking, and the guy's supposed to say a line, I heard he got killed. That's my opinion. Well, the guy never showed up. The SAG actor never showed up to do the part. So the director came up to this guy that was with me. He said, you say this line. And the guy was saying, I don't think it was, he kept saying it wrong. And I just said to him, no, just say, I don't think it was an accident. I think somebody killed him. He said, yeah, you do it. You do the part. I said, me? He said, and if we keep the movie, we'll give you $920 if we keep it. I said, okay. So I did it 3-4 times.
What accent was it?
I did my accent, but he was an Asian director, and that's what he said. If we keep the movie, we'll do it. We will pay you the $920. I said, okay, fine. Movie comes out, never in it, never seen it. So I'm still in a scene at the cemetery, but didn't have my speaking part. So, which is fine. But I'm like, what happened to Night of the Living Dead? Oh no, this is that we're doing that next week. I said, I want to be in it. Okay, so calls me, going to be a zombie in Night of the Living Dead.
So you sound really excited about that.
Yeah.
Is that because that is an iconic movie, but you didn't know it was going to be an iconic movie at that point. You just wanted to be in a horror movie. Is that what it was?
Well, see, they did one in '67, the original, and that scared me till high school. I never watched it till I was 17 years old, not kidding you. So I said, that was pretty neat. I want to be in a movie like that. Didn't think it was going to be any good. Tom Savini directed it. I mean, some good actors in it. And so I'm a zombie. And then a friend of mine was one of the ADs.
How did they kill you second time?
He didn't kill me, actually, in the movie.
You're still alive.
I get kicked in the
obviously.
face. Yeah, I get kicked in the face in the truck scene. And we're doing rehearsals. Probably took 4 hours to do the scene. They got back braces on me and knee pads and elbow pads. And I had a shirt on that says, I love my job, I just hate the work. And it was like a guy with a bottle. And Tom Savini said, I think I like it. Eventually, they maybe put a flannel on, and actually, I was offered like $500 for the flannel because I still have it from the movie.
Really?
I said, really? I said, maybe I'll think about it. And so did the scene, and one of the takes, the actor actually kicked me in the face, clipped me, and he looked at me like, and I just fell to the ground and got back up. So he kicks my hat off. Okay, that's the end of my scene. And Tony Todd comes out of the house with a torch. He's shaking the torch while I'm in the background with my hat back on. Fire, good, Igor, and I said, well, I shot that 3 days earlier, and in that scene. So the funniest part of the movie is the first day on set, we wanted to walk at the cemetery. It wasn't the Evans City Cemetery, but it was a farmhouse in Washington, PA that they used. So we're walking down. There's like 5 of us, zombied up and everything. We have time to kill till it gets dark. We see this woman with her back to us just at a gravesite.
She's probably dead from a heart attack.
Well, come on, guys, let's give her a show. So we started growling like behind, getting close. She turns around, got it. She had a Lincoln, big old Lincoln. Getting this Lincoln, almost took out 3 headstones. Took off, dust threw the flowers on the ground. It got back to the producers on set, and who was down scaring out a woman. I'm looking behind me. I don't know. Maybe this guy over there. Maybe Rick did it. I was here all the time. I wouldn't do something like that, you know. So that's a good memory. That. And then the thing was, I had to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning on Neville Island for the railroad, and I left Washington at 6:15. Forgot I had the makeup on. You have makeup on for 10 or 12 hours. You forget about it. I'm driving to work. I go into work. I walk into the office. My boss almost had a heart attack. He started cussing, get out of here, get out of here. You know, I said, what are you talking about? And I forgot I had the makeup on. You better go. He just didn't know what to say. Oh, we messed with him so bad, but that's another show.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a little segue here. So I asked you this earlier before we started this, is like, if you're going to be an actor and you have a 9-to-5, it has to be a flexible job, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Because the job I worked on the railroad was part-time. And there's times where I could work, I would take off a day, which would cost me $100 to make $30. And that's why I'm probably divorced right now, because I would lose money to make a movie. But it wasn't about the money. It was about having fun and being somebody you're not. And, that's
the trade-off.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
You got to follow your passion.
Right.
Screw the wife. That's
another story.
Okay, so let's get back to some of your fun stories.
Let's go to Silence of the Lambs.
That is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't make the final scene, but I had fun doing it. I get called as an orderly, and my scene was I'm supposed to take Miggs out in a straitjacket in a dolly car. And so we shot the scene and everything. And but before that, first day on set, we're at Westinghouse, Electric Avenue, and exit 30. I can't remember the exit. It's out off Monroe, exit 30. It's Western Electric Avenue.
I know what you're talking about.
There's a Westinghouse building they use for the soundstage. So I was like one of the first ones there, like 6 in. So I grabbed the coffee and sitting in a chair. Before that, girl says, "Hey, you want to be in a movie?" I said, "What is it?" Silence of the Lambs. I said, "Who's in it?"
Some kind of farm movie.
She said Jody Foster and Anthony Hopkins. I said, "Oh, sure." So I'm at the railroad the next day. It's the same place where I got the wardrobe. And I signed up for unemployment because we got like $23 a day if we didn't work on the road for 5 days. So I have to sign up every week to tell them. So I ran into a friend of mine. "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm getting wardrobe for a movie." He said, "What is it?" I said, "Silence of the Hams or Lamb." I can't remember who's in it. Jody Foster and Anthony. The guy says Perkins. I says, "Yeah, Anthony Perkins." He said, "Oh, that's pretty neat." So you know who that is? I says, "No." He said, "He's from Psycho." I said, "Oh, I know that guy. Yeah, the black. Oh, I know that." So 2-3 days later, I'm on set, get my coffee. Here comes this guy in a blue jumpsuit. I said, "Good morning." I said, "Good morning." He sits down. "Hey, where'd you get the coffee?" I said, "It's behind the soundstage. Can I get you something?" I said, "Can you give me a bagel and 2 cream cheese?" "Oh, sure." Comes back, sitting there. We're eating, talking. I said, "Have you done much?" He said, "I've done a few things." I said, "I've done like 30, 35 movies." I says, "I featured in Gung Ho and with Michael Keaton. You could see me like 3 different times in the same." "Oh, that's nice."
Bragging.
I said, "When a director says action, give it like 2 or 3 seconds before you go." "Why?"
You're giving advice to Anthony Hopkins.
Because you'll be in the scene. Usually, if you watch a scene, most of the time you walk past the scene and you're out of the scene. "Oh, that's very good, very good." And if you see, when you go to a set, if you see a chair turn backwards, sit next to that chair. Why? That's where the main actor's going to say, "Oh, I didn't know that." I said, "Yeah, I'm telling you. Thank you."
He's probably still telling the story to this day.
I don't know who he is. So hour later, Don Brockett comes by. "Hey, John. Hey, Don, how you doing, buddy?" "That's my friend Don Brockett. He's a pretty big actor." I says, "I'll have you get a picture of him later." "Oh, that'd be nice." So we're talking about soccer. He's from Wills and this and that and the other. Foods, pierogies, just different. My parents were up in the old country, just different stuff. "Oh, I'd like to have some pierogies someday." I said, "Well, if we work together, I'll take you to my mom's church on the south side." "Oh, okay." So here comes Jodie Foster. She's walking towards us.
You recognize Jodie Foster?
Well, I knew her, yeah, for sure. I kicked her. I kicked him under the table. I said, "Here comes Jodie. She probably wants my autograph." He said, maybe. She's coming closer. Now I could feel my cheeks getting red. I don't know why. I know that's why, because I have high blood pressure. And she said, "Good morning, Anthony. How are you?" And he said, "Just fine, Jody, just fine. And this is my friend Johnny. He's giving me some tips." I'm like, "Wait a second. What part you playing?" So I'm playing he showed me the script. "Wait, what happened to the guy from Psycho?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Nobody told me. I thought the guy from Psycho was in this movie, not you. I didn't know you. I'm sorry." "Oh, no." He hugged me. He hugged me, honest to God. He said, "You know what?
He wanted to bite
This
you.
is this is the best conversation I've had." He said, "Somebody to sit down and just talk to me about everything except films and everything." He said, and then 3 days later, I got to be on set again as a detective, got cut out, and we start talking, "Hey, about those pierogies." I said, "Well, I think it was a Friday. My mom's making them. It's like 5 minutes from here. You want to go?" He said, "Sure." So I took him to the St. John the Baptist on 7th Street in this dungy basement where they're making, and sitting there. I knew he was somebody bigger. I didn't know what he did. I just knew he was the lead actor in this movie. And we're eating pierogies, and he had like 6 potatoes with the onions and the butter and everything. And took him back to the car. We go to set.
Did you introduce him to Mom?
Well, they didn't know who he was. Most of them couldn't speak English, to be honest with you. That's just the way it was. And I think my grandmother was there, and they just shook hands. And long story short, we go back to set, and there was cops there. And they thought I kidnapped him because he didn't tell nobody we're leaving. He said, "We'll just go." When they see me, I almost got fired, but he stuck up for me. He said, "No, we got the pierogies," and it was all cool. It was the last day I worked. I don't know if it's because they didn't need me anymore or something happened, but I didn't get called anymore. But it was kind of towards the end of the movie anyway, so that was a good story there. I mean, it was and a great man. I mean, he was just so down to earth,
Really?
And I felt so embarrassed. So I knew I had high blood pressure, and I got my medication. Thank God. It's probably going up right now just thinking about it. You probably see my cheeks are red.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah, that's once in a lifetime.
So what are some other big movies you've been in?
I did a quick. I know Brendan Fraser's doing a movie called The Will. He's a pretty. So I did a movie. His first movie ever is called Guilty Till Proven Innocent. I played a bailiff, which is bringing him in out of the courtroom. So one of the scenes we're rehearsing, and Martin Sheen is there and saying, "Bobby, Bobby," and I'm escorting him out after he was convicted of murder. He's, "Dad, Dad," and I'm walking him towards the door, and he's looking towards his dad, and I'm trying to pull him to the left because he's walking right to the wall. And as I pull him to the left, he says, "Get off of me," and turns to the right and hit his face right on the marble sill of the courthouse. And nose just popped out and was bleeding. I mean, and it was a rehearsal scene. They had cables running and everything, so I'm just trying to get. So the director,
they didn't catch that on film. Huh?
Well, yeah, I wish we would have. And the director said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He's yelling at me. I said, "I didn't." Brendan said, "He didn't do anything. It was my fault. He tried to help me." So his nose is swelled, and they're like 2 hours we're down. I mean, it's a lot of money sitting down. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, Nancy Monster called me and said, "Hey, John, I need like 5 or 6 people for inmates." Because I used to help her cast a lot back in the day, in the 90s. And now there's thousands of people. Before there was dozens, you know what I mean? And I got like 6 or 7 people in the scene. So I asked my buddy, what was the scene? The kid I got, and he said, "Oh, Brendan," this guy asked Brendan for his shoes. And Brendan says no. And the guy punched Brendan in the face, compensating for his nose being swelled in the courtroom scene. So
you changed the script on them.
Well, yeah, I probably cost him $50,000 for that one day shoot, but I wouldn't say it was my fault, but I'll take a little credit for it, you know. So that was an iconic film. Batman, I worked in Batman, featured in Batman, and that was a tough one because that was 10 years ago. And they sent us to this airport to do rehearsals, fighting stunts, 4 different stunts. And it was probably 90 degrees. You could see the smoke or the fog coming off the runway. And we're doing these punching and fighting. No contact, but you slip once in a while. And probably after a half hour, I'm having a heart attack. I'm like, I don't know if I can. This is crazy. My friend Jackson, he's another actor who's been doing this a pretty long time. We look at each other. We're too old for this, man. These guys are cops and military. And I'm saying, I don't know, man. I says, and Katie got me the part. It was hard to get on to Batman, you know. And Katie got me on, and I said, I'm not going to disappoint. I'm not going to quit. I've never quit anything. So I went through with it, and it got easier. And then I got featured. I'm right next to Christian Bale and Bane in one of the scenes, fighting as a cop, and so that paid off pretty well. You know, that was a bigger one. And then a bigger one was Concussion with Will Smith. I played a judge with Will Smith, so I get some screen time with Will for 5 minutes. It was great. Will's one of the greatest guys I ever met in my life. I mean, just so down to earth. I mean, yes. I mean, I start watching more of his stuff. I say he's a pretty good, funny guy, actor. But once you talk to somebody, eye to eye, introduced himself to me, shook my hand, saying, "I'm Will." I said, and he said, "Did you want to get a photo later?" I said, "Oh, sure." And there's friends of mine. "Oh, how'd you get there? You're not allowed to talk to them." I said, "It just is what it is." I mean, but you have to know if you work with somebody. I just don't walk up to a stranger and say, "Hey, I don't." There's one movie called "I Love and Other Drugs" with Jake Gyllenhaal and this other guy, which I never seen or knew who he was. So I'm on my phone. I'm deleting pictures, like, pointed here, and I hear this voice like, "You could ask to take my picture." And I look up. I look around. "Excuse me? You could ask me if you want to take my picture." I said, "Take your picture? I don't even know who you are." And he put his head down and walked away. And then somebody said, "You know who it is?" I said, "No, I have no idea." "That's Oliver Pratt." You know Oliver Pratt? I said, "I don't know who that is. What's he? I'm not taking his picture. What do I want to take his picture for?" So it was a situation where they didn't like it, but I just was being honest. I wasn't taking your picture, and I wouldn't take it if I knew who you were. I don't care.
Yeah, it's one of those things where some people are full of themselves and
Right.
some people are down to earth, and
Right.
it's like, they are what they are.
Then I did Money for Nothing with John Cusack. I was John Cusack, Benicio del Toro's photo double stand-ins. So you get to hang with those guys for 13 weeks. And James Gandolfini was in it, Michael Rappaport, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I did say Gandolfini, I believe. And but they were nobody back. John was pretty big. He did a few movies. And Benicio I never heard of, But I became friends with Benicio after 13 weeks. We would go to Metropole down in the Strip and stuff on the weekends and hang out. And John came.
So you don't make a ton of money doing the extra stuff, right?
I actually probably lose money. I mean, it's
So
cutting.
it's your passion, right?
Yeah, it's not the money. No, I don't. I mean, everybody needs money. I do more free things. I actually was going to do a small short film in Warren, Pennsylvania, a couple weeks ago. And I cut my vacation in Chicago short to drive up there. I play lead actor. I play two parts, which is some local actors, some you have on this podcast. And I drive up there, and I'm about in Oil City, and a guy calls me and says, "Hey, John, my whole crew just backed out. We're not going to film." I'm like,
That's what I hate about
"What?"
this.
I'm driving in the rain for 2.5 hours. I got a hotel for 2 days I'm paying for. I said, "I'm coming up to see what's going on. I'm almost here." So I meet with him, and I felt bad because he told me a private situation he's in and everything. So I kind of felt bad. I said, we'll make it work." So I said, "Have the other actor come." I'm not going to mention his name on here. "Have the other actor come. I'll meet him. We'll go over lines." He said, "Well, he can't make it tomorrow. He's going hunting." I said, "Wait a second. 2 months we had this scheduled." I said, I was getting mad then. Yeah, but then I had to keep it cool because I'm not a mean person. It takes a lot to get me mad. I said, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
So I went to the hotel, paid for the hotel, paid for my own meals, paid for my own gas, and got up at 6 in the morning and left. So that's, I don't, if we would have shot it and finished it, I don't mind.
Right.
But calling you and
it's that balance. I mean, kind of the same thing happened to me like early in my career. It was one of those things where I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but I contacted him and said, "Hey, I'd like to work with you when you work next." And he said, "Okay, well, let's schedule this. We're doing this Saturday, okay?" So Saturday comes around, and in the meantime, I get a call for a job that I turned down. So I'm turning down like $1,200 to do this, but I figured, I already committed to this. I have to do it. And then they back out. It's like, "Oh, we finished it yesterday. We're not going to shoot today." And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I hate that. I mean,
so now what I do is I usually tell people that if this is a freebie and if I get a job last minute, I have to take the job.
Right.
I just can't do it. And I feel bad doing that. But if I get paid a little bit of money, then it's like I'm committed.
right,
kind of thing.
right.
But yeah, that's a downside to this. And it's professional versus amateur kind of stuff.
Sure.
And I understand it. Like, I'm doing this for the passion of it, just like you are. It's like, I don't mind losing a little bit of money,
Right.
but, whatever. Okay.
You learn.
Stories. Give me more stories.
Let's see. Broke Brendan's nose. Yeah. You just meet a lot of people. I mean, like I say, I did.
So what's your biggest part that you've ever had in a feature?
I did a National Geographic film about the Cute Creek miners. It's called Situation Critical. It's on YouTube. It's a 43-minute short. It's the true story about the miners being stuck. And I played Ron Shad, who was one of the miners that got out. They didn't talk much about the first 9 miners that got out, more or less the 9 that were trapped. But I'm in there for the first 12 minutes. I'm got some lines in there, and on a go-kart that I've never drove. The director said, "Yeah, drive a go-kart." "Oh, sure." I'm like, "How do you drive this, man? You just push that." So I knocked the tire off.
Did you go into a mine?
Went into a mine, and the first time I'm going into a mine, I'm in a man lift. It's a small car, and I'm pretty big, and I'm like, and the ceilings I think were like 48 inches or something. It was just the clearing.
Oh my God.
And they had the light from another miner's shining on my face, and the cameraman sitting next to him. And as we're going in, I just started getting, not a panic attack or whatever. I just started, oh my God, I can't breathe. What's going on here? But I'm not going to act like it's bothering me. Thank God I got down in there. It got a lot colder, 60-some degrees in the mine. And we shot at the Torrid mine, I can't remember. They shot My Bloody Valentine there also. I worked as a photo double in My Bloody Valentine 3D. Same mine. I can't remember the mine right now. But so that was so I'm driving the golf cart, and I have a friend of mine, Kenny Chapman. He's playing another actor's part. And so we basically, I think I saved the other miners because I put my golf cart's lights towards the door that we went through, and we escaped. So I'm the first one out, and they sent everybody home and just finished my stuff. It was like a 3 or 4 hour. It was pretty crucial, crawling on the ground and wet, and they got these hoses coming through the wall and squirting me. It was November or something we were filming. It was cold, and they said try to get sick. So I'm like throwing up in there. You know, I could do it if I have to, and getting sick, and eyes are glassy. And then eventually, the director, he says, "Okay, now you see the light. You're at the tunnel." And I come out of the tunnel of the mine. And I look around, and the narrators say, "Well, Ron Shag got out, but he doesn't know what happened to the other guys." And all of a sudden, you see the other miners' lights coming. I'm screaming, "Oh, thank God, I never thought I'd see your ugly face again. This is so great." You know, then they narrate, well, then it turns to sorrow because he doesn't know what happened to the other 9 miners. Then it cuts to the rest of the story. So that was a pretty good thing. I did another thing called The Insanity of God, where I played a Russian soldier beating this guy for like 17 years because he believes in God and he won't say he doesn't. We kidnap him. We shot that at the Moundsville State Penitentiary. Great. Put you in a hotel, put you up third billing in a movie. So that was a pretty good thing. You could see me in a lot of things. I mean, Jack Reacher, I was doing stunt driving in a car. I can't even think right now, like all the different films I've done. I mean, I probably done 6 out of 10 that's ever been filmed in Pittsburgh in the last 40 years.
That's been a rewarding career. Huh?
Yeah.
So say I have the same passion and I'm a younger actor. How do I get into doing stuff like that? What's the process?
I love doing films for Point Park. So if you can get on with those guys, I did 4 films in one weekend for Point Park. 4 different students. Back then, they didn't have 100, 200,000 people like I have now. Some people just started 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I've been doing this for 40-some years, 45 years, I'm thinking, when I started. School plays when I was younger. But I would say get any kind of camera work you can, any experience. I mean, the student films are the most fun for me.
Well, that's how you begin acting, but
Yes.
to get the extra gigs, like, is it contacts, who you know?
You got to sign up with the agency, Nancy Mosser or Pittsburgh Film. I think Chelsea Peterson's doing it. So I get called pretty often. Right now, I'm working on a movie called American Rust Season 2, which I got hired to play a core detective, which is nice. And then also it was Jeff Daniel Standen. And then once I worked a couple of days, I called my ex-employer to see how much I can make, and it wouldn't benefit me to do the whole movie. So I can work the 6 days as the core cop or 5 days as a stand-in, which is fine.
Yeah.
And also did and Jeff Daniels is a great guy. I mean, I met him like a couple times. Very, very, and I stood in for Bill Lang, which I actually cast Bill Lang to do some of my films that I did back in the early, 10 years, 12 years ago with Kurt Angle, Kevin Nash, Sid Vicious, Sharon Hill, Clayton Hill, a lot of the zombies from Night Living Dead, Nick Tallow, who just passed away, God bless him. So I got a lot of these friends of mine that I've done films with in films, which is pretty rewarding,
So besides an actor, you're a filmmaker.
I would say I produce films. I do a lot of set dressing, lighting, which I'm not good at lighting, you know that. But props. I've worked on 4 or 5 features. Zach and Miri make a porno. I can't remember all of them right now. As a set dresser,
You weren't a
The
fluffer?
road, no, I wasn't a fluffer. So dress the sets, and there's times where we would get, our boss says, you got 3 days to do this job. We did it in 1 day, and he said, what are you doing? This job's a 3-day job. I said, well, I like to work. I don't want to stand around. Now what are you going to do for 3 days? He said, just Teamsters would drive us around, and we would just go like to flea markets and stuff, go to the movie theater all day. And this was cake job. It was She's Out of My League was the movie we were doing. They had a sound stage in McKees Rocks on Highland Avenue. So it was the last day, and we figured out going home, it's 4 o'clock, get out of here at 2, get paid for 12. And here comes the set designer. And he said, I need you we worked more than them 3 hours I did the whole week. We worked. I mean, it was fun, though, but you do what you're told to do. I don't slack. I do more than I'm supposed to. Maybe that's my problem in life because I volunteer too much, and then I get on things that I want to do. Hey, you got lights, you can come and do that. I really don't want to do that, Hey, can we borrow this? You got wardrobe?
Yeah, I find a lot of not so much professional stuff. I don't know my way around to professional people at all, but I find this is all about favors. You're here, like you said, you didn't like finding this place. You don't like doing this, but I helped you out. So
you helped me out a lot. Yeah, more than I can say. Michael's done several of my films, and anyways,
that's how we work in this industry. It's not an industry. I mean, it's like a passion. It's I don't know. It's a hobby.
Right.
Yeah, but it's amazing to me. It's always amazing. Like there's some people that are they just like making films. And it's like, I guess I'm going to ask them the same thing I ask you is like, why do you do this?
Right.
Why do you do this?
Yeah. It's the reward. People ask me, you make $100 a day on the railroad and you go work in a movie for $30. I said, I can't explain it to you. But I tell you how I tell people, it's like, if you go to a baseball game or a football game, it costs you money to enjoy that, right? If you go watch a movie, it costs you money. If you go fishing, it costs you money. Anything you do in life costs you money or something to have a good time. I'm having a good time for free. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
And they said, makes sense. Yeah, you have to have the right mindset to understand. You have to be an actor or a filmmaker, which you are, and you understand you see something from nothing. You have something in your mind, and it's something eventually into a story. I did a story, I think you've seen it, called Pack Lunch. It's an idea of mine. It's a story kind of based on my son.
So you're a screenwriter, too.
I wouldn't say that. I just have ideas in my head, and then I have Jackie Drug, a friend of mine, who put the pen to paper, you call it. And so I had this, my son passed tragically 6 years ago, and I wanted to do something to remember him and the pain that I went through and still going through. It'll never go away, never. And so I did a story called Pack Lunch it's basically about a love between a parent and a child or vice versa. And the pain you go through when you lose somebody you love, and that's really emotional. I did a audition for a commercial for Penn Medicine, and there was 50 or 100 people auditioning for this part. And I didn't. Katie called, say, you want to audition? You probably, how many people? There's like 25 today, 20. There's better people than me. I'm not going to do it. She said, okay. She called me like 3 days later. We still need a person. We have 10 people coming in. So I'm going to Washington, D.C. with my ex-girlfriend, girlfriend at the time, to see a concert. We're leaving at 10. Can you come in at 12? We'll get you in right. So I got to argue with my ex-girlfriend over it, but I did it. And all the scene was is you get a phone call and you look at your phone and you get a text message. And it's the best or the worst news of your life. And I look at the phone and I seen my son there. And it's in the eyes. I mean, you can see my eyes right now. And the director just, well, thank you. We'll get back to you. And 2 hours later, they called me, so I got the part. And Nancy said, did you think of your son? I said, yeah. And she says, it works. He's helping you. I mean, 6 years and I'm still emotional.
Right.
It'll never, I would trade places in a heartbeat. But so I did this story based on losing somebody you love. But it was my daughter. It was a car accident, completely different. I didn't want it to say, oh, my son died because he had this problem. It's not that, So sorry about that, but it's still.
Yeah. That's. That's
But anyways, we won about 47 international awards for the film, which is pretty nice. From first one I've ever written, or my story got out there, and people say, "Oh, they're junk festivals or whatever." Well, I didn't do it to win awards or look what I did. It was always a team. I always said our team. Thank you, team. It was never me, what I did, and I never feel like that. It's always a team thing. I can't do this without you. You can't do. Everybody has to put their togetherness in, and so I thank everybody. And it's so working on another one, which you helped me a few days on. It's called Destination Unknown. I have 5 scenes shot, and I have maybe 2 or 3 more to shoot. And I don't expect much. I just want to get it out there, just a story. And you might might not like it, but something we do. So thank you so much for helping me on that a couple times, and I appreciate that.
Are you I think a lot of the local filmmakers, they want to make a career out of this. They want to make it big. Actors too, of course, but I'm talking filmmakers now. Like they want to be the next Spielberg or Tarantino, whatever. They just want to make it really big, but there aren't that many of us who are going to make it big. But it's still worth doing, I think. Don't you agree?
Oh, sure. There's several 5 to 10 people I've done films with at Point Park, and used to be what was the other one? The Pittsburgh Technical Institute, and the one that was in Pittsburgh, it closed down. I think it was 3 or 4 of them. It was a college for arts,
Art Institute.
Yeah, Art Institute, Pittsburgh. I've done several for them, and I see 4, 5, 6 of those grips, camera guys on set now. I was doing, like I said, American Rust. Some of those guys were on her, and I did Mayor of Kingstown. I have a nice scene with Jeremy Reiner. Hope he recovers from his accident in that movie. And I see 4 or 5 guys. Hey, John, what's good? And it feels good to know people, and they've come a long way in 10 years, And they say stuff. John did my movie when I was a senior, and I'll never forget it. And so it makes you feel good. It's not about money, fame, fortune. It's about memories. Memories is forever. I mean, you can make $1,000 on a movie. That money's spent the next day, but the memory is in your heart and your mind forever, and that's what I want.
Yeah. For us, it's literally spent the next day on new equipment to do more films.
Right.
I mean, I sink so much money into this; it's ridiculous.
Oh, I know.
So, who are some of the local filmmakers that you really admire?
I've met Brian Saponis a few years ago, and he was a good actor. I didn't know much. I met him on something. I can't remember the name right now. Him and David played attorneys. I was a bailiff, had a couple lines, and so I met him there, and we just met him on Flatwoods, which is a film that Jamie Lockhart produced, wrote, directed, and I probably 4 years to shoot it. David O was in it, Christina, and Brian, and Ed Pfeiffer, and I can't think of everybody right now.
The regular suspects.
Regular suspects, yes, that's what they call it. I think there's a web group that's regular suspects or whatever that they have going on there. So I met Brian there, and then on some other projects, Done Waiting too. I helped them get some ambulances and some props and some actors and stuff and cars. And
that's when we were working on that together. You did the night lighting stuff. That was difficult.
Yeah, it was with Roger. Roger Gillick did most of it. I'm not a light person. I have lights. I used to just point them and make it brighter. I said, yeah, I can see. Can you see? Yeah, that's good enough. Now I learned so much on working on sets as a stand-in. Just just unbelievable. And just what you do with your little shadow flag there makes a big difference of in or out of the light, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's actually something that I'm fighting with right now. I like doing sound. It's sort of like this tangent that I've been doing for the last couple of years, but I think I could make a bigger impact by doing lighting. So, do you know Scott Danzig?
I don't. Be honest, I might have met him. I'm bad with names.
Yeah, he's new in town. Actually, he's been here 3 years.
Scott Denzel. Yes.
Scott Danzig.
We did the movie. I did the movie with you.
Oh, that's right.
I was at the funeral.
That's right.
I did 3 or 4. Yeah.
But anyways, he called me for this other movie, and I'm doing the lighting and the sound.
Oh.
So I'm really excited about that. It's not really an edgy kind of lighting thing, but I just think I have a lot of lighting skills, and I think I'm going to go more in that direction. But everybody needs sound. Sound is one of those thankless jobs. It's like you either got it or you don't got it. I mean, if you're a sound guy, you can tell really good sound from, mediocre sound, but
Right.
most people just don't notice. I don't know, but
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that was a sound man on a big movie, Jim, and he actually passed away on Mr. Rogers, filming Mr. Rogers.
he's the guy.
And
Huh?
yeah, he taught me a lot, and as far as equipment with when we were doing movies with North Shore Pictures, he told me what kind of booms to get, what kind of lavs to get, this, that, and the other. And a great guy. And everything is wireless basically on set. There's no cables around, the mics, but they just have an or receiver in a corner somewhere, and it's just like used to run the long booms and everything. Everything's wireless now. As far as the
They're
more
not
modern,
running booms so much anymore.
they're having booms, but they're wireless booms. There's no
Right.
cables, and I've seen that probably 5 or 6 years ago. They were getting into the new technology. Same with the cameras. I shot movie Unstoppable with Tony Scott. I shot the Mogulman Studio or 31st Street Studios, and I played a tire control operator. I'm watching all these monitors, sitting right next to Rosario Dawson for how many weeks it was shot, and but they were shooting on film, and he shot 530 or 27 rolls of film on that movie at 11 minutes per roll. Imagine how much footage that is. And he was always, how many we got, Tony or George? 475, Tony. Okay, we're going to get to 500. So he was so happy whenever they got over 500. I don't know if he had to break $1 million extra for the budget or what it was, but it's a lot different now with digital. I mean, it doesn't, give me another one. That's why I always like to shoot the rehearsal scenes and just, let's do the first, because that might be your best one. That just might be you're not acting, you're just being natural. That's probably the one you want to get,
Yeah, that drives me crazy as a sound guy because everybody wants to do that. And meanwhile, I don't know everybody's levels. I don't know what's going on. So technically on my end, it's going to be a little shaky, but you're right. Sometimes that's the best, but the sound might not be the best.
Right.
But yeah, we were talking earlier about how, if you're a stand-in for a Hollywood movie, then like you can see what's going to happen. You can light it just perfectly.
Right.
Now, that's one of the things that really, that's kind of why I want to be into sound or into lighting more, because to me, that's what I see different now. Like if I look at Hollywood versus, Pittsburgh produced, it's the lighting that makes the difference a lot of times. We have some great actors.
Right.
But it's the lighting to me that just, I don't know. It's crazy. There's so much to. What do you think the difference between Hollywood and Pittsburgh is?
It's as far as people.
No, as
just
far
as filmmakers.
Like filmmaking. Like I realize that there's 50 people versus 3 people kind of thing, but like when I'm looking at the movie, how can you tell the difference by looking at the movie?
The production value. I was watching a movie on Hallmark last week, and a guy drives a motorcycle in a sunny day town, goes into the restaurant, comes out 20 minutes later, and it looks like it's 3 days later with like a foot of snow. How did they not catch that? I don't know. How did it happen? I put it on Facebook, and that's not a big deal. I said, what do you mean it's not a big deal? It from short sleeve to snow. I think there's a lot more people in a big budget, like American Rust. I don't know. One was crazy was Mayor of Kingstown. They had to spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a day just on food. I'm not kidding. Anything you wanted was there. So I'm thinking budgets have a lot to do with people, crew.
But that's not you don't see that in the film.
In the film itself.
That's a nice perk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. If you have a good camera.
Yeah. One of the things that bugs me, and I'm a photographer, so I see this, but like so many people obviously underexpose stuff. Like it's, you have to, how you look at a film and the blacks just aren't black. They're sort of a muddy brown, and it's an underexposure thing. So it's a lighting thing. It's a lighting exposure thing. I don't know.
Yeah. See, I was never into the lighting camera because I'm not. I've done Steadicam work for a small steering wheel jig in some small indie films I shot in Arizona and Texas and stuff. But I can see things like as a set dresser but as far as lighting, and I can tell the difference in some stuff. Yeah, that's not my specialty as far as what it should look like. You can see something if it's grainy or if it's too dark. Yeah. But if you shoot on a high def and the sound is good, that's the main thing. You know what I mean? I couldn't honestly tell you the difference if you shot it or Steven Spielberg shot it, shoot the same scene. If it's stationary, I don't know the difference. You know, you could probably pick it up.
There's a lot of you people out there,
yeah,
and it drives me crazy. But there's that's one of the things. Like there's some people in town that it doesn't seem to matter, but there's other people that. And they tend to be more from the commercial end that are doing this on the side. Like if you're a commercial videographer and you do it for commercials and to, produce stuff, that's different than the hobbyist. The hobbyist will underexpose stuff. And they might, I'm thinking of a couple of people I just don't want to mention, but this one hobbyist guy has a great eye. I mean, his eye, it's really good. That's one of the things that's hard to teach. You just can't teach a good eye. And he has it, but technically he's weak. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It just drives me crazy.
So you need so many people to make it work. You have somebody overseas. You have 10 ADs on movie sets nowadays. I mean, just it's ridiculous. I think they waste a lot of money on these big productions because you look around, there's 50, 60 people standing around drinking coffee, which I know they have a job, but, it could be more.
It's like the one guy digging a ditch and the 10 guys
watching it, or change a light bulb and screwing a chair around.
Okay, so if I wanted to get into acting, say, I'm my age and I'm my weight and I don't have any hair, and it's like, if you want to do some extra work, like, should that exclude me because I don't have hair? Or, I mean, does body type matter? Or do they want just regular people, right? No. You don't have to be a Brian Saponis beauty guy, right?
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. No, because in life, if you think movies are about real life, they have these gorgeous girls and guys on Hallmark all the time, but that's not for real.
Right.
So
but they are on Hallmark.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but no, all sizes, shapes, colors are needed. I mean, I see a lot more on movies. There's more women. There's more black women in films, more lead black actors in film, which is great because you need different, because that is life. And people portray life like this, but it's not like that. It's what's in front of you. So everybody's needed. Sometimes I'm too tall. I have too much hair. I'm too handsome in the sense, oh, thank you. Or we're looking for nothing against you, but we're looking for the guy with a missing this and his nose is over here. It's just what they're looking for. I would.
Right. But you tend to be, okay, this was one of my other questions is you tend to be typecast, right? Like you're a guard because you're big and, you're that kind of guy.
Right.
Like you don't have a problem with that, right?
Well, if it's a good scene and I enjoy it, no. But I must have played a cop more than I played anything else. I mean, I was in Batman and Guilty to Proven Innocent, and I can't even think right now how many cops I've played in different films and bailiffs, and I couldn't tell you right now. But that's that's what they need. They need cops. They need cops. I did a thing with Donnie Wahlberg. There's a scene where Bingo O'Malley was in a Pittsburgh Actor, passed away. I'm a cop in there for a bunch of scenes. I can't even. My mind's shot right now because I've done so many things I don't remember. People say, "Oh, you did that thing with." I don't. I'm arguing. I was never in that movie.
And then you look. Oh, that's me. I remember that.
Yeah,
now.
I'm like, wow. I said, I just don't. One seems. You just don't. No, that wasn't that movie. That was Batman. No, it was Jack Reacher. No, it was that. But no, I don't. I'm honored to be asked. Put it that way. If somebody has confidence or they think I can do a job, that's all that matters. I mean, I like to play. I like to play the villain. I like to play the bad guy, the creep. I've done a lot of creepy things for Point Park. I mean, which are just not me.
Yeah. I think a lot of students just gravitate towards horror for some reason
because it's easy to do. It's easy. I like natural effects. I don't like CGI. I've never seen Star Wars. I've never seen any of these. I've never seen none of these robot movies. Because if I can't believe it, I can't watch it. I'd rather see an old Frankenstein.
You didn't see the new Avatar?
No.
That is
I can't.
That's one of the best action movies.
Yeah.
I've ever
My
seen.
friend Jamie Larkart loves it. He's going to see it 5 times this week. Sorry, and I'm more of a simple. What you see is what you get. Like the Frankenstein, the old classics that are actual effects. Tom Savini is a great special effects. I'm friends with Tom. I've worked building the Jason mask with those guys. He directed a ton of films, and their effects is amazing. I don't like the computer. I know it's an art. It's hard to do. I just can't believe. If I see a Statue of Liberty falling into the ocean, I just can't follow it. I mean, I watched.
They really did that, and then they put it back.
Did they? Oh,
yeah.
well, I'll go next time then. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, you never seen Star Wars? Never seen Star Wars. Probably never seen none of Fast and Furious. Never seen. I just have to like it. I'm more of a family oriented type movie guy, something that has meaning.
Yeah, you mentioned Hallmark several times.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's my wife loves Hallmark.
Yeah.
It's like, I walk by the television. I said, well, did they kiss yet?
Yeah, right.
Then it's not over. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're always playing music in the background.
It's the same, yeah. But I want to, and there's some movies where I've done like parts with John Jankwich. We're actually going to do a film this spring, feature length. We're shooting on film. We shot our last one. He shot on 35, I believe it was. It was called The Mutineer. Shot in black and white. Good actors from New York and stuff. And
that has to cost a fortune to get processed.
It costs a fortune, yeah. And we're shooting. It's a good movie. I mean, it was a good film. Now we're doing one about this. We're going to shoot this year. I think on 16 is the next one down.
Yeah.
We're shooting on 16. Feature length film about a guy, a convict gets out of jail for bank robbery. But he wants to rob a bank during the eclipse.
Do you have a big part?
I'm producing. I'm
Okay.
going to be the assistant director. I'm going to do tech. It's going to be a small cast. I'll probably get in there as a guard or something. It's basically one guy tries to rob a bank during the eclipse. And John's very good. I've done 7, 8, 10 films for John. He graduated from Pitt University, and I've done a ton of films for him. I'm the lead actor.
So where's this film going to end up, do you think?
Festivals and stuff. Yeah, I don't think...
I don't think Netflix will accept anything shot on 16.
It will?
I don't think
I don't know how it is anymore. Yeah. We went to a premiere, and he had it on DVD. He's like me. He doesn't do it. It costs him money. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars. You got these actors from New York and putting them up for 15 days, and he's getting ADs and renting grip trucks and stuff. So I'm going to try to work with him. He wants to pay me, and he's very generous, but I would rather just do it as a friend. No, I don't want to. We just actually purchased a bunch of HMI lights. So we got a 4K. We have, I think, 4 1200s, 4 5 575s, and then some smaller Aries tungstens. So plus I got a ton of HMI or LED lights. I have a dolly track. I have C-stands. I have sandbags.
Oh.
I have a smoke machine. I have police uniforms, fire uniforms, anything you want. I have basically but I'm not lending it out to anybody. It stays.
So I should probably delete that part.
Yeah. So that's my next thing. And another friend of mine, Joe Varola, we're supposed to do another feature film this year. He did a film with Bingo O'Malley and Mark Tierno, 2 local good actors.
So let me ask you this real quick. I find a lot of kind of new filmmakers are really anxious to shoot a feature versus a short. And to me, shorts are better for them just because it's short, it's sweet, it's like they're working on their craft, and it doesn't take 6 months to produce. It's like get in, get out, learn something from it. Now, you've been talking features. Do you like features better than shorts, or do you think people should do more shorts than features, or what?
I know shorts will get done most of the time. I work on several features. I can't tell you how many that never even finished, got done, ran out of budget, ran out of actors, whatever reason.
That happens with shorts too.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm doing that right now. So about 8 or 10 months since I started my short. Might take another 6, but it'll get done. I just don't want to film and then put it together. I want it to be good scenes and everything. So it just depends who you work with and what their budget is. I mean, if you're just an independent filmmaker with no budget, want to do a feature, you have to have a good crew that's going to stick through it and make it work.
Right.
So
see, for the people that are doing shorts, I think, and that's why I think features are different. I think if you're doing a short and you find out like 3/4 of the way through it or after you shot it that it sucks, you should still produce it. Like you should finish editing it and you should get it out there because I think you owe it to the crew if nothing else, just to put it out there. And it's like, yeah, you don't look as good to the world, but at the same time, you finished it. You learned from it. And that's what shorts are for, in my opinion. I think shorts are for learning. And then when you think you've really gotten to a certain point, then sure, go for a feature. But I don't know.
I agree with that. Yeah. But like I said, it's dedication. It's if you have people that are willing to sacrifice their time. I did a film with a friend of mine, Joe Shelby, called The Green Man, and we shot every Sunday for like 15 Sundays during Steelers season. And I loved the football back then. It was probably 10, 12 years ago. But I loved Joe. Joe was in Dawn of the Dead, and he'd done some of my films. So I was dedicated to help him. But and he finished it. It was not a bad movie, but there's a lot of things you could do. Learning, I hate when people just shoot wide shots of the scene and that's it. They have no cutaways, no individual. So you always need at least a couple inserts. And no, we don't need it. And then you don't know who's talking. You got 10 people sitting at a bar talking. Who's talking? Who's that coming from? It just doesn't. But then you don't have the time or the budget, or maybe you got to get out at the bar at 12 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. So
Right,
it's everything
right.
is works around. When you have no money, you're at people's mercy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a photographer, so like composition's important to me. But there are times when, and I have to do this to myself as a photographer. I have to sit down and tell myself right before I push the button, is this the best I can do? And I want to say that like, I have to know the person to do it, of course, but like the DPs, the guys running the cameras, it's like sometimes they'll just slap the camera up. Okay, we got a 2-shot, let's go. And it's like they have made no like intentional decisions on the composition. It's just like, okay, the camera is at that height because that's where the tripod was last time. You know what I mean? And
Right.
we're sitting there because I didn't want to get too close to the wall because we might make a smear. Or, like it's not based on aesthetics. It's just to get it done. And that's one of the things that bugs me. And I think that's one of the big things that makes the difference between a professional and an amateur. To me, I asked you the question earlier, what are the things that make a difference? And I
Right.
think that's one of the big ones. And I think, yeah, it's going to take a little bit more time, but I still think that's the way to go. I don't know. My
Yeah,
pet
that's
peeve.
true.
My pet peeve.
Some, like I said, I work on Mindhunter as a guard. What else? And David Fincher, great guy. Got to hang out with him and several times. I mean, and he gave me a high five on set and thanks for coming again. But he did 56 takes on one scene that everyone sounded the same. And we're walking past the hallway. We're just a shadow past the window, a frosted window. But you got to do it 56 times, and take your shoes off because we don't want to hear your heels clacking. And I was helping Nancy Hosser with casting for Pickle, American Pickle. So I was telling her the extras to go, sign in everything, get them there. And where the place was, I look over and I see David Fincher sitting there. So he gets up and ready to leave. I said, David, he come over. Yeah, how you doing today? We're talking about what's going on, this and that. And so it was nice that he would take time. I mean, I've not really knew what he did until I researched him a little bit. And he's done some stuff. And so you meet people, just to say hi to somebody means a lot. I mean, birthdays come up on Facebook, and I have 1,000 or 1,200. I don't know. I've never friended anybody, honestly. It's just like I didn't even start that. And it's somebody's birthday that I don't even know, but I'm friends. So I'll say, hey, I hope your day is great,
Right.
and
That's
everything.
important.
And they send me a little thanks so much. That means a lot. So even on movie sets, I mean, if you're an actor or Tom Cruise is great on set. I mean, he would come over and say hi to everybody, shake hands and everything.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I heard just the opposite of that.
He's my experience,
Right.
as far as I work, So I think no matter if you're a janitor on a movie set or a lead actor, you should treat everybody the same, and that goes a long way because that's respect. Because you were the janitor at one time, now so what makes you any different in between here and there?
Right.
So I believe that goes a long way,
Great. Okay, well, is there anything you wanted to say before we end this? Like something you can think of that might be beneficial to the audience?
Just there's no limitations what you can do. Don't reach for the moon. Just keep one foot in front of the other, and but
Enjoy the ride.
enjoy the ride. I mean, and do have fun. If you want to be a movie star, this is not for you. You're not. It's I've been doing this 40 some years. I didn't pursue it. I could have went to New York, LA, and tried. I'm not a great actor, but maybe I got some breaks and got some better jobs. That's not my goal. I want to stay home with my family, do what I want to do, get up when I want to get up, and. But I'm not saying that can't happen to the next person. They're always looking for different people and actors, and so just have fun though. That's the main. Have fun. Everything else will come.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, John. I appreciate you taking the time out. And now that you found the parking lot, maybe you can find your car back again.
Yes.
So, okay. Thank you very much.
Make a check out to WI.
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you.
Well, that's it. Thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.